Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the 2022 Midwest Sim Racing Association Rapid Fired Pizza Nationals. We've made our way out to the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway, where we're going to go 145 laps in our open setup Xfinity cars. Always a great time calling the action. As always, my name is James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, bringing the action 1080p, 60 frames a second. As right now, drivers getting gridded up and ready to go out on track. Let's run through tonight's grid. Starting on pole, Colby Baber starting first. Matthew Dyer starts second. David Centini starting third. Billy Fitzgerald starting fourth. Julio Villalobos Jr. starting fifth. Kenny Meadows starts sixth. Scott Stevens starting seventh. Evan Longacre starting eighth. Brent Wall starting ninth. Barry Stevens starting 10th. Bobby Harmon starting 11th here tonight. John Midget starting 12th here today. Cycling it back to Mike Howerton starting 13th. Dad Gwinnigsman starting 14th. Robert Norfleet starts 15th. Robert Cook 16th on the grid. Greg Newsom starting 17th. Braxton Dewey starts 18th. Timothy Davis starting 19th. John Binder starting 20th. Chris Noble starts 21st. Kyle Mulring starting 22nd. Diego Villalobos starting 23rd. James Duke starting 24th. And Richard Malugani will round out the 25-car grid here tonight. As we wait for everybody to get fully gridded up here. Waiting on Meadows, Longacre, and a few others to make their way out onto the grid before we go racing. Stage break on lap 50 here tonight. That will be our one and only planned caution for the evening. And it's always fun watching these guys as they run a whole lot of green flag laps here each and every week. Like everybody's making their way out. Looks like Villalobos and Malagani not starting here tonight. Not sure what's going on there. As the number 8 of Luis gets a slow start as well. But we'll get them gridded up behind our iRacing safety car. Faber and Dyer on the front row. Fitzgerald, Centini, your second row. Meadows and Villalobos Jr., your third row. Pace car is in. Let's get ready to start the action here at the Midwest Sim Racing Association. Barney, our flagman, watches on. And the green flag flies here in Charlotte, and we are underway. So far, so good for our competition. Baber leading the charge. Dyer up on the high line has Centini looking down low. Also looks like Julio Villalobos Jr. trying to make some moves as well. The number 45 Toyota. As I think that is still Centini and Dyer. And there goes around Dyer. And already things are getting exciting here today as Dyer's enter pit lane. Let's take a quick look at that one, as that was a huge moment for the number 2 machine. So we're watching Matt Dyer in the number 2 machine. Not sure what we saw happen. We just saw him kind of pitching it sideways in the Mr. Clean-backed Ford Mustang. And yeah, just loses the back right, rips it around. Almost got a little bit of airtime then. You can see him holding the wheel far right, and he knows the field is right behind him. The last thing Dyer wants is to pitch it back into the track. I mean, right at the start, a very dangerous spot to have any incident. It's a big field here tonight as well as Charlotte, so he's very, very fortunate that things didn't go worse, and that was through, I believe, 3 and 4, and I gotta give him credit holding against the wall the entire time. The rest of the field able to get through, and then Dyer waits for everybody to get around before coming down the track to try and get to pit road safely. So well done to Dyer for a race that's starting off very, very roughly. At least nobody else was getting involved in that one. Back up front, Baber has a massive lead, 6/10, taking advantage of Matthew Dyer's situation. The caution did not come out for that one. Thankful for a lot of the drivers out on track. They are used to some green flag runs here at the Rapid Fire Pizza Nationals, and today may be no different. A little bit further back, Julio Villalobos Jr. has his hands full with, I believe that's going to be the 55 machine of Scott Stevens. As Baber still has a massive lead out front. Very thankful, though, that the caution did not come out early on. Doubly thankful that Dyer was able to hold it against the wall there. And now we are watching the battle for third. Scott Stevens in our 55 machine trying to work his way around Julio in the 45 Toyota. As Baber out front continues to stretch the gap in the number 10. A little bit further back, Brent Walls being chased by Billy Fitzgerald in the battle for 6th. As drivers clicking off laps early on, 5 laps in. I'm going to be interested to see. Ooh, is that Meadows getting maybe a little bit loose there? Looked like the 96 machine maybe rotating more than he was hoping for. And that allowed Brent Wall to close the gap to about 2/10. But let's go a little bit further up front. David Centeni has Villalobos Jr. right behind him. And now Scott Stevens going to join the battle as well. So Centeni in the 79, he's about 3/4 of a second back from Baber. But Villalobos Jr. wants that second place spot, going side by side the inside line. Centeni has about a half car length crossing the start-finish line. And that's going to make life easier for Scott Stevens in the 55 machine as well. Now with these open setups, I think a lot of the guys are running very, very loose to try and plan for a long run, but you can definitely see how some of the drivers really fighting the machines here. As now Villalobos shows in the second place spot by about 0.02 of a second. While Centeni stays committed to the outside line, but Villalobos shuts the door. And now Scott Stevens in the 55 machine wants in the fray as well. Now with these three duking it back and forth so hard, that's allowed Baber to pull a 1.2 second advantage as your race leader. And these three of Julio Villalobos Jr., David Centeni, Scott Stevens are about 0.6 up over Kenny Meadows. Now we know Meadows is fast in the 96 machine. And kind of the same deal, if these three start dicing it back and forth too much, that's going to allow more drivers up into the fray. And that is absolutely what your race leader wants, Baber in the number 10 Toyota. He wants these guys to stay busy behind him so he can continue with a strong lead up front. A little bit further back, looks like Mike Howerton's made a move on Billy Fitzgerald. Howerton now up 6th position so far here today. He's put Fitzgerald down a spot. Bobby Harmon crawling through the field as well in the 73 machine. He's up 2 spots so far tonight. And Braxton DeWeese appears to be our hard charger so far in the number 8 machine. He's up 6 positions as well. Not having the qualifying run that he was looking for, but trying to make something happen. Now, I'm not quite sure. There he is. There's Scott Stevens. I thought Stevens may have lost that pack. Well, let's go back again to Billy Fitzgerald. He's side by side with Bobby Harmon. Harmon in the 73 machine. Fitzgerald in the 22. Looks like Harmon's going to get a spot here. And right behind them, Evan Longacre, Barry Stevens still linked up nose to tail. Longacre down 2 spots from where he started the 95 machine. Currently riding 10th out on track. Looks like Wall and Howerton gonna duke it out for the 6th place spot, going back and forth. And side by side, that's Howerton, number 51 machine on the inside line. Brent Wall in the number 6 up high. And yes, Howerton gets clear down the back stretch. And we've also got more action going on up front. Here comes Scott Stevens. Making the pass on David Centeni. Now somehow Julio Villalobos Jr. has pulled about a 6/10 advantage over these two. So Villalobos finding some speed 14 laps in. And let's see now if Stevens, who looks like he got a little bit loose there as well, that's going to allow Centeni a chance to strike back in the 79. As this is the battle for 3rd on screen. Centeni and Stevens side by side. Kenny Meadows in the 96 watching behind. And he's got the advantage as the 55 and 79 punch a massive hole in the air down the backstretch. Here comes Howerton as well in the 51. Taking advantage of traffic slowing down ahead of them. Right now it's a 3-car battle for 3rd, but I think Meadows and Howerton closing the gap. Centeni makes a big move. Stevens maybe backed out of it there, opting to play it a little bit safer. And that may allow Howerton the opportunity to try and make something happen. He was looking to the outside of Stevens, not quite able to make it happen. Now Brent Wall and Bobby Harmon have joined the fray. Howerton, Stevens side by side. Meadows has made the pass on Centeni and worked that 96 machine up into 3rd. But things are getting a little bit exciting as now Stevens and Wall go side by side. Harmon looking for a way through in the 73 machine. Howerton has a bit of a blink there in the 51. Hopefully he gets that addressed. Ooh, it looked like that was Harmon in the wall very slightly there in the 73. That's allowing Wall, Stevens, Fitzgerald to buy and able to check out a little bit. Curious to see if he's got any damage, especially on that back right quarter panel. Doesn't look too bad on Harmon Chevrolet. But still, drivers all across the track still dancing around trying to pick up some spots. Let's go back to 3rd place, Kenny Meadows. He's got David Centeni, Mike Howerton, Brent Wall linked up behind the 96 machine, all running single file. Now Meadows, 1.4 seconds back from Villalobos. And your race leader, Baber, 2.8 seconds ahead of his closest competition. So far, drivers rocking and rolling here. And now it looks like Howerton and Centini going to go side by side in the battle for third. Very intense racing. Excuse me, this is the battle for fourth between Howerton and Centini. Got some smoke up ahead, not sure where it's from. And man, oh man, are they digging deep here. Howerton looks like he got a little bit loose out of four, but able to hold on to it. Got more interesting action going on across the track as well. I believe Harmon and Fitzgerald going side by side in the battle for eighth. Oh, we've got problems ahead. Is that Howerton? Howerton and Centini have problems. That's going to bring out the caution for lap 23. Let's take a look and see what happened. We're watching Howerton in the 51, Centini and the 79 machine. You've also got the number 6 of Brent Wall right behind these two. Oh, what's going to happen here? Is Howerton getting loose there? And just the lightest of touches from Dave Centini. And unfortunately for Howerton, that's going to be enough to spin around the 51 machine. And let's assess the damages here. The rest of the field able to get through nice and easy. Thankfully, these drivers went down the apron. You can tell they're locked up fully on the brakes, but how hard is Howerton going to hit? Pretty hard. But it doesn't look like Centini got too damaged from that one, as he's able to get things back point in the right direction. But poor Howerton definitely has some damage on the front of the 51. So that will bring out the first caution of the night on lap 23. And Colby Baber in the number 10 machine will be your race leader now. We are just about halfway to the planned stage caution for these drivers. I would think we're going to see most of the guys come down pit road here, but we've seen racers do more wild things before in the past. Looks like we got a few drivers coming down pit road. Colby Baber, that looks like everybody. Now the big question is, who stays out? It looks like it's going to be David Centini, Scott Stevens, Bobby Harmon, Braxton DeWeese. The 4 drivers who stay out. Matthew Dyer has sent it back to the virtual hauler. He's done for the night. Diego Villalobos, Richard Malagani did not start. Let's see how much damage, though, will be on Howerton. Centini must not have too much damage in 79. He's the driver that stayed out. So Centeni will come down pit road. Bobby Harmon will follow suit. So now it'll be Scott Stevens and Braxton DeWeese, the two drivers who are staying out on their original set of tires, valuing that track position more than anything else. So waiting for the safety car to come in. We'll get our drivers gridded up double file. So we're gridded up double file behind our iRacing safety car. We should be going green this time by Charlotte. Just over halfway to the planned caution of the night for our stage break on lap 50. Pace car is in. Barnyard flagman gets ready, and let's go back. Green flag racing, and already looking to be 3 wide, crossing the line there. Stevens and DeWeese with the older tires go high as Baber and Philip Jr. work the low line. Stevens trying to hold on with those old tires underneath him. Braxton DeWeese has hopped down the inside line to Scott Stevens, working his way forward in the 55 machine. Baber with another massive launch. Philibos is about 3/10 ahead of DeWeese. DeWeese still on those original set of tires, but he's got Meadows right behind him in the 96 machine. I think Meadows may make it happen here into 3. Yes, does even before 3 on the backstretch. And he will slide into the 3rd place spot. DeWeese looks like he almost got into him there at the number 8 machine. No, that was DeWeese almost got into Robert Cook. So DeWeese and Stevens, who opted to stay out in the original set of tires, not having much luck here. As now Fitzgerald has involved in some side-by-side action. A little bit further back, Chad Gwinningsman in the number 9 machine. He's down 3 spots from where he started trying to work his way forward. He's in a battle with Brent Wall for 16th. And up ahead, looks like Braxton DeWeese really falling off the pace here. He's still up 8 spots from where he started, but falling down the running order after opting to stay out on those tires. Ooh, the number 84 of Mullring hints at some 3-wide action as Stevens and DeWeese go side by side in front of them and stack up the field here. James Duke, Mike Howerton, Greg Newsom, Chad Gwinningsman all in the mix here. So it's a very busy racetrack down the backstretch of Charlotte. DeWeese and Stevens still side by side on their original set of tires. Oh, and around goes the 76. That's James Duke. Slowing it way, way down, and he's got big problems out there. So we're watching James Duke on the 76 machine. He's side by side with Howerton. Not sure what's going to happen here. If Howerton comes up, maybe Duke goes down. No, it looks like Duke's going to get squeezed 3 wide. Tries to hold on to it. Gets a little bit unsettled. Tags the 55. That's going to be Scott Stevens involved in that one. And then the field's going to start stacking up a little bit as everybody starts to lock up on their brakes and scatter. But unfortunately, I think James Duke and Stevens in the 55 machine are going to have the most damage out of that one and may very well be done for the night. No fast repairs here at the Rapid Fire Pizza Nationals, and a whole lot of damage late into the race, but not even to the first stage break. So that will be our second caution of the night. 33 laps into it. Haven't even made it to the stage break so far tonight. And already seeing some perfectly good race cars getting sacrificed. Now, I would imagine that Braxton DeWeese has to be happy with this, knowing he has an opportunity to maybe take some tires here after he tried to stay out. The rest of the field, most of the field took tires on lap 24 or 25. Except for DeWeese and Stevens, and they rapidly fell back down the running order. Now, I believe Stevens is going to come down pit road regardless, as he was involved in that incident with James Duke in the 76 machine. Let's see who comes down pit road for this one again. The planned stage caution is in 15 laps. As we got a few drivers coming down pit road. Braxton DeWeese, Scott Stevens, Brent Wall, Robert Norfleet, John Binder, James Duke, all in pit road. Looks like everyone else is going to stay out. Now, I'm curious to see how much better will things be for Braxton DeWeese coming out on about 10 lap fresher tires than the rest of the field. I believe that is Chris Noble getting the wave around the 53 machine. As the rest of the field chugging along under eye pacing conditions. We will try and get them re-racked double file here. It's still going to be Baber and Villalobos Jr. on the front row. Kenny Meadows, Robert Cook, your second row. John Midget, Billy Fitzgerald will be your third row. Pace car should be in this time by, and it's going to be a very short stint to decide who brings home the points for our first and only stage of the night. Everybody gridded up, double file once more. It'll be about 12 laps until our stage break on lap 50. Pace car is in. And away they go. Baber with a big launch, early half-second lead. Kenny Meadows trying to take over second place spot from Villalobos Jr. Looking to the inside line. Villalobos settles in third. Looks like that is going to be John Midget with Evan Longacre. Billy Fitzgerald right behind him, side by side. Fitzgerald takes over that sixth place spot. Longacre going to try and answer up the inside line and the 95 machine. Up front, looks like Villalobos has linked back up to Meadows in the 96. Meadows is up 4 spots tonight. Villalobos Jr. up 2 spots. But look at Robert Cook in the number 64 Toyota, sponsored by Wrangler. He is up 12 positions thus far. Toyota trying to work the inside line against the 64, not quite able to make it happen here. As Evan Longacre, the 95 machine, watches on as well. He's looking for a way to get a little bit further up before the stage break is scheduled. Scott Stevens has come down pit road in the 55 machine. I'm wondering, maybe not happy with the damages he has. Still frantic all across the track. Kyle Mullering has David Centini right behind him, as well as Howerton, the 51 machine. This will be a 3-car battle for just inside the top 10. Mullering runs 9th, as I believe it is the top 10 that gets stage points here for the MSRA Rapid Fired Pizza Nationals. And where's Braxton Deweese, who came in on lap 34? Taking fresh tires. Unfortunately, maybe not working well for him. He's about a second back from Greg Newsom, who's riding around in 13. As here's the battle for fourth between Cook and Midget side by side. Cook on the high line, Midget in the low line. Longacre just watching on right behind. You're on board with Evan Longacre in the 95 machine. Trying to work his way a little bit further forward before that stage caution is thrown. But we've had 2 early cautions so far tonight. Very uncharacteristic for these drivers who are used to long green flag runs. And looks like James Duke has come down pit road as well to get some repairs done. But Robert Cook's got some friends join him in that 64 machine. 5 laps left to go before the stage caution is thrown for these drivers. As Baber continues a dominant run in the number 10 machine. Absolutely on fire, set pole, and has led just about every lap here when he started on the front row. Now, interesting as well, we haven't really seen the opportunity of green flag runs for these drivers. Historically, you'll see some of the guys that are running 5th, 6th, or as far back as 10th much closer to the front when they've got 50, 60 laps to make something happen. Let's go a little bit further back in the field. Barry Stevens trying to catch up to Billy Fitzgerald and take over that 8th place spot. About a quarter of a second back from Stevens, you've got Kyle Mullring in 9th. Mullring's got about a second advantage over Howerton, so looking pretty secure here inside the top 10. I think if we're going to have any action, it's going to be between Cook and Midget for that 4th place spot. But Cook seems to be gaining just a little bit of ground through 1 and 2, but was able to pull just about a 10th over that 29 machine. That could very well be the advantage of clean air on the front of these Xfinity cars here in Charlotte. As Evan Longacre definitely looks like he wants to make that pass over the 29 machine. If he waits too long, though, Billy Fitzgerald in 22 is going to close the gap, as well as Barry Stevens in the 78. And let's go back. It's a 3-car battle for 10th. Braxton DeWeese, Mike Howerton, David Centeni all in the fray, so I think DeWeese is going to work his way up inside the top 10 as we wait for the caution to come out for the stage break. As we wait for the lights to come on. Baber backing off the throttle, picking up the stage, the lights are on, and that will do it for the first stage of the night. It's Colby Baber, Kenny Meadows, Julio Villalobos Jr., Robert Cook, John Midget, Evan Longacre, Billy Fitzgerald, Barry Stevens, Kyle Mullring, and Braxton DeWeese, your top 10 here for the opening stage as the waving yellow is out. So we'll take a moment, re-rack the field, and get ready to run it for about 90 laps of what could be green flag racing. But I've got to say, a rough start here tonight at Charlotte. 2 cautions before the stage break officially occurred. Definitely a rocky start for what we're used to out of our competitors. Well, I believe just about all the field's going to come down pit road here. Yeah, even those that came in lap 34 also opting to come down pit road. Now, I'm not sure. You may see some drivers opt to only take fuel here if they came in very recently, but I'm not sure if that's going to be the case. As I think Chris Noble is going to try and get the wave around before he comes down pit road. And driver's gonna rip out of pit road. Looks to be fairly calm, all things considered, with how busy it can be out here. And it's gonna be Baber on the top spot. Looks like everybody took 4 fresh Goodyears, a full tank of gas. I'm not seeing anybody do anything too drastic or crazy as far as strategy goes. We'll run them around once more, then get double file and go back to some green flag racing. Hopefully the drivers are able to get a little bit more of a run than they did in the opening 50 laps. So gridded up double file, Baber and Meadows on the front row, Cook, Longacre your second row, Midget and Fitzgerald your third row. Pace car is in. We wait for the green flag to fly here at Charlotte. We've got 90 laps left to go. And let's go green flag racing once more. So let's see how the long run pace could possibly be if we get that run we're looking for from Baber, the number 10 machine. We know that Toyota's been quick on the short run. Will we get the long run to see how that's going to pan out as he's quickly pulled a 4/10 gap over Kenny Meadows. A little bit busy racetrack as Kyle Mullering, Barry Stevens going side by side, Braxton DeWeese in the fray, as well as Howerton Centeni also right there with him. Mullering in the 84 machine, getting a little bit loose there coming out of 2. That's going to allow Barry Stevens on the outside line to get some momentum built up. DeWeese stays tucked in behind the 84 in his number 8 Chevrolet. Oh, was that Howerton? Yes, it was. Howerton way down the apron. Either got loose or jostled around there in his number 51 machine. And oh, who's that behind him? That's Greg Newsom with a massive moment. The 23 machine, you saw the tires smoking. Newsom loving the paint scheme on the 23 here tonight, but a massive moment. Looks like he kept it off the wall nice and easy, but the driver's coming out with some fresh tires underneath them, making them a little bit loose, a little bit lively, and I think some of the guys may have made adjustments under caution. Looks like the top part of the field getting a little bit spread out. Baber with about 7/10 up over Meadows. Meadows 4/10 over Robert Cook. And then Cook has just shy of a second over 4th place Evan Longacre. And I think we just heard Brent Wall had a big moment, the number 6 machine. I heard tires screaming on the right side of my headphones here. And now he's going to fall back to 15th place spot right behind Shaq Linningsman. But I think if we can get a long green flag run at this point in the race, we've got the stage caution out of the way, I think you're going to see some different guys have a little bit better luck here. Some of these drivers just so extremely quick when it comes to long run pace and maybe don't really set up for short staccato sprints. As we're watching Mullering and Stevens having their own battle for 8th. Stevens on the inside line, the 78. Mullering up high on the 84. And it looks like Stevens is going to get the pass made here. A little bit further up front, the 4th place Evan Longacre. He's got John Midget, Billy Fitzgerald, and Braxton DeWeese in tow. As even those 3 separating a little bit coming out of turn 2. That's going to put Fitzgerald a little bit closer to striking distance of Braxton DeWeese. DeWeese up 11 positions so far tonight, but Robert Cook in 3rd and Kyle Mullering in 9th. Both up 13 spots so far tonight. Making some big moves as the race progresses, and it's been a bit of a race of attrition here tonight. As out of the 25 that entered, we have 19 still on the lead lap, and only 21 still out on track circulating. As I think John Binder has just lost connection to the 33 machine. Checking out Robert Norfleet, he's putting the pressure on Mike Howerton in the battle for 11th. Right behind him is Julio Villalobos Jr. as well as Chad Gwinningsman. Norfleet looks to the inside line of the 51 through 1 and 2. Howerton, Norfleet, and Villalobos having a pretty intense three-car battle for 11th. As Norfleet and Howerton still side by side. Villalobos in the number 45 Toyota looking for a way through here, but not an easy move to facilitate. As Norfleet and Howerton still dancing back and forth. Right now it's Norfleet in the 11th place spot, but we've seen Howerton fire back time after time. And now it looks like Villalobos is going to try the inside line against the 51 of Howerton. As Norfleet very slightly pulling away. Longacre still holding on to the 4th place spot in the 95 machine. Originally qualified 8th here tonight. Has worked his way up into 4th, so 4 spots gained for the 95 machine. But he's got a long way to go if he wants to get back up into podium contention. As the 95 of Longacre about 9/10 back from the 64 of Robert Cook. Everybody inside the top 3 separated by about 9/10 of a second here. As let's go a little bit further back, Braxton DeWeese has made the pass on Billy Fitzgerald. But this is the part of the run where you're going to see who the long run drivers are, who's set up to make it the distance and keep that average lap time just a little bit slower than everybody else. Again, it's not coming out and putting down the fast lap or a string of fast laps. You've got to manage that tire wear over the duration of what could be a very long run. Hopefully we get to see some green flag stops here tonight. As now Braxton DeWeese, a man on a mission. Looks like he's making the pass on Longacre. Now he's going to try and reel in John Midge's 29 Toyota. Watching about a 3-car battle for 4th. John Midge, the 29 machine, about a second back from 3rd place Robert Cook. But now he's got Braxton DeWeese, who's been charging up through the field, trying to make his move up into 4th, as well as Evan Longacre. Billy Fitzgerald still within striking distance as well. And we are past the halfway mark of today's main event. But Braxton DeWeese has made his way up into fourth and very quickly pulling a half-second on Midget, Longacre, and Fitzgerald. And it looks like Kyle Mulring starting to join the tail end of this pack as well over the duration of his run. He's about 4/10 off of Fitzgerald. Both DeWeese and Mulring are up 14 spots from where they started. I'm very interested to see if DeWeese is going to have the long run pace to maybe close that 8/10 gap that Robert Cook currently has. And see if maybe a battle for third will start to get unfolded here. Kyle Mulring now 2/10 off the back of Billy Fitzgerald and working his way forward. Fitzgerald looks like he's a little bit quicker entering the corner there into one. As Mulring starts to close the gap down the backstretch. Now this is going to be interesting. About 6/10 separates 5th through 8th place. And we are 26 laps on the set of tires, so things are about to get interesting. And there's a little bit of traffic ahead of these drivers. That's the 55 of Scott Stevens driving a heavily wounded machine. And here comes Mulring putting the pressure on Fitzgerald. He's going to look to the outside line through 1 and 2. As just ahead of them, Midget Longacre run nose to tail as well. And look at this. It looks like Norfleet wants in the fray as well. He's going to tuck in behind Mulring's 84 machine to try and get clear of that 22. Up front, Braxton DeWeese has closed the gap to Robert Cook. Now 3/10 separate the 3rd and 4th place drivers. Mulring and Norfleet have worked their way around Fitzgerald. And Mulring's going to continue his dominant charge, now up 15 positions, make it 14. As Robert Norfleet has other plans in the 56 machine saying, no, it's my time. Heading back up front, Braxton DeWeese has closed the gap now to 2/10 behind Robert Cook. And what could be the battle for 3rd. Luis was almost 2/10 faster that last time by. But we are intently watching the battle for 3rd. Robert Cook is up 13 spots. Braxton DeWeese up 14 positions. He's going to have the tire wear underneath him to make it till the end. Looks like Cook gets a little bit loose out of 2. DeWeese stays in the throttle, though, to try and close that gap even further. But clean air tonight has been so important for the drivers. So Deweese up into third, 15 positions gained so far. Robert Cook is going to watch the number 8 machine from behind for the first time in several laps. Let's see if Cook is going to fire back, or maybe Deweese has a little bit left in the tank, setting up his Chevrolet for that long run that took forever to happen here tonight. Again, we had 2 early cautions before the stage break on lap 50. And so far, drivers have been out on track under green flag conditions for about 34 laps. Your current running order: Baber, Meadows, Deweese, your top 3, Cook and Norfleet rounding out the top 5. Greg Newsom has come down pit road for what looks like a green flag stop in the 23 machine. And a big lockup. You see the puff of smoke there. So I wonder if he's trying to get off strategy, do something different. Or maybe he has something with the car he's just not happy about. So let's see, Deweese still holding about a 3/10 advantage over Cook. But let's go a little bit further back, as Centeni and Longacre have been having a battle, and this is going to be for 6th. Centeni in the 79 machine, Longacre in the 95. Longacre able to quickly close the gap down the backstretch right behind these two, as well as Fitzgerald and Stevens. As it looks like the field kind of yo-yoing back and forth. Now, I'm not sure what happened to Kyle Mullering. He's now all the way back to 13th, only up 9 spots when we originally qualified. Maybe burnt up a little bit too much tire underneath that Chevrolet. We saw him work up as high as, I believe, 14th or 15th positions, 14 or 15 positions gained. But that's somewhat coming undone as Mike Howerton and Chad Gwinnigsman linked up nose and tail in 11th and 12th ahead of Mullering in the 84. Looks like Norfleet's making his way around midget in the 29 machine. Norfleet now up 10 spots inside the top 5. Stacked up behind Norfleet. You've got Centeni 4/10 behind, but he's got midget linked up right behind him. Longacre about a half second off the 29, and Longacre has Billy Fitzgerald and Barry Stevens in tow. Right now, we're watching Centeni and Midget linked up nose to tail in the what could be the battle for 6th. Centeni trying to close the 4/10 advantage that Robert Norfleet has, as now Billy Fitzgerald going to come down pit road for a green flag stop. Got just over 50 laps left to go. Going to be interesting to see how the pit strategies play out, I should say. Now, Julio Villalobos Jr., the number 45 Toyota, he was very fast this evening, but he's been in his pit stall for 7.5 minutes, trying to get that thing hammered back into shape. As we check back in on your race leader, Baber, not having any issues at all here tonight. over 5 seconds ahead of Kenny Meadows. Kyle Moring comes down pit road for a green flag stop in the 84 machine. This is going to be interesting. Who's going to stay out here? I don't think Baber's going to have any reason at all to come down pit road. He's absolutely flying, even on old tires, almost a tenth faster than the rest of the field at this point. So he's going to stretch things out as long as he possibly can. Braxton DeWeese has been closing the gap ever so slowly to Kenny Meadows. The number 8 machine has closed the gap now to 3/10 behind the second place 96 machine. Will we see the battle unfold? Meadows 2/10 behind. I'm curious to see. We've gone just a bit shy of 50 laps on this run. So how far can these competitors really stretch it out on fuel here? Got a lot of drivers down pit road. Evan Longaker, Barry Stevens finishing their green flag stop. Looks to be about 9 drivers on the lead lap as your race leader, Colby Baber, comes down pit road for his final stop of the night. Kenny Meadows opts to stay out to get a lap led the 96 machine. As we've got problems elsewhere on track, looks like Scott Stevens had an off-track excursion and takes a tow back to pit road, so he's going to avoid bringing the caution out. So Meadows continues to stretch to Chad Gwinnigsman down pit road. Your top 7 drivers still staying out after lap 72. So let's see how this is going to pan out. DeWeese, Norfleet down pit road. Meadows, Centenny, and Midget opt to stay out here. Meadows down pit road. Centenny's going to follow. Midget will follow suit as well, so it's going to put Baber back as the race leader. As let's pan a little bit further back in the field here to see how some of the other drivers are doing. So looking a little bit further back, Barry Stevens in the 78 machine. Started off 10th, currently in 10th. Gonna be interesting to see how that old school Ninjas back 78 Chevrolet able to climb a little bit further. As Meadows, Centenny, and Midget on their outlap now, working their way out of pit road. And it's still going to be Baber out front by a country mile. Looks to be about 8.7 seconds. Going to be closer to 9 seconds ahead of Timothy Davis in second. Davis has yet to come down pit road in that 92 machine, though. As that's Billy Fitzgerald working the inside line. Davis surely looking to come down pit road relatively shortly, as he's been out there for quite a long time. I imagine at this point he's going to be feeling the effects of the car really tightening up over this run. As Baber, 11.4 seconds ahead of Billy Fitzgerald. We pull up the live timing tower on the left side of your screen to see where your favorite driver is after these green flag stops are coming to a close. I think it's just Timothy Davis, the lone driver on the lead lap who has yet to come down pit road. He has yet to come down pit road since lap 52. So really stretching it to the limit here. Evan Longacre's worked away around the 92 machine. He's about 1.2 seconds back from Braxton DeWeese. DeWeese rapidly closing up to Billy Fitzgerald's number 22 machine. Fitzgerald came in a lap 92. DeWeese lap 105. So much fresher tires in the number 8 machine as they go 3 wide with traffic here. Oh no, Braxton DeWeese sliding around. Not seeing the yellow flag come out, but DeWeese just can't catch a break here every Thursday night. Running up towards the front. And now finds himself all the way back into 10th in that number 8. Kenny Meadows, Evan Longacre side by side in the battle for 3rd. Now Meadows came in lap 106, Longacre lap 99. If they can just take it easy here, they should be able to catch up to Billy Fitzgerald in the number 22, and that's exactly what Kenny Meadows is going to do, making the pass happen against Fitzgerald, using those fresher tires to his advantage. Kenny Meadows takes over the second place spot. Longacre trying to make something happen against Fitzgerald here. Longacre looks to the inside line into turn one, and he will make it happen, working his way up into third. Now it looks like it's going to be Robert Cook's turn to make a pass on Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald has fallen back into fifth as he went for a bit of an undercut here as far as pit strategy goes. Timothy Davis down pit road for his last stop of the night, last scheduled stop of the night, I should say, in the 92 machine. As behind Fitzgerald, you've got Barry Stevens, Robert Norfleet, all looking to work their way a little bit higher inside the top five. I think that's Norfleet hinting at some three-wide action, maybe thinks better of it. And Norfleet's going to try and make it a 2-for-1, working around Fitzgerald. And now Barry Stevens as well. And Norfleet now up 10 spots up inside the top five. So Cook going to continue to charge up front. He's about 2.9 seconds off the back of Kenny Meadows. Meadows has 2-lap newer tires as well. Not sure how much of a difference that's going to make over what is going to be about a 40-lap run if we go green till the end. As Colby Baber cannot be stopped so far in the number 10. Now hopefully, or at least he's hoping, I would think, that we're going to go green here. As every time, every lap, he continues gaining more and more ground over the rest of the field. Robert Norfleet, Evan Longacre still having a battle inside the top five. Norfleet's worked his way up into fourth. Longacre falls back to fifth in the 95 machine. Will Longacre be able to keep Norfleet in striking distance? It looks like Norfleet quickly pulling some ground down the backstretch, now 4 tenths ahead of the 95. Norfleet pulling a gap over Longacre and closing the gap to Robert Cook. Now 3/4 of a second and closing fast. Cook came in a lap 104, Norfleet on lap 105, 26 laps left to go. As Colby Baber, your race leader, has checked out. Kenny Meadows comfortably in second, but I think third place not yet decided. As Norfleet in the 56 closing the gap to Cook in the 64, the bright yellow and black 64 Toyota of Cook, the black and red 56 of Norfleet. Let's see how this is going to pan out. It's now 2 tenths separating Cook and Norfleet. Oh, Norfleet Looks to the outside line of Cook as they cross the start-finish line. It was less than 0.07 of a second separating the two. Cook defending the inside line in the Toyota. Norfleet in the Ford trying to make something happen on the outside, carry a little bit more momentum. And it looks like Norfleet's going to make it happen here. Very quickly pulling a 1/10 of a second gap. Cook's going to stay right behind the 56 machine. And Norfleet has pulled about 1/4 of a second, making 3/10 advantage over Robert Cook. A little bit further back, Braxton DeWeese has got a lot going on around him. There's John Midget, Barry Stevens on the fray. DeWeese has worked his way back up into 6th after that massive moment that looked to throw away his chances of a podium. Now, I think Braxton DeWeese is going to have to really need some luck here. He's about 5 seconds back from Robert Norfleet, who runs in 3rd. So DeWeese closing the gap to Longacre, about a second back from the 95 machine. He's looking for a comeback story, but unfortunately I don't think he wanted to be in that position to begin with. You can see the black and gold 95 just ahead of DeWeese. And DeWeese, to his credits, closed the gap now to about 0.6. DeWeese with a 32.26 that last time by. Unfortunately, that is also slower than the guys in the top 3 are currently clicking off right now. John Midget staying linked up behind the 8 of DeWeese, trying to follow him up towards the front. And now it's about to be a 3-car battle for 5th. Longacre, DeWeese, Midget, all less than 3/10 from each other. DeWeese looks to the inside line. Longacre running the middle line, trying to diamond that corner a little bit to build up some speed down the backstretch. Here comes DeWeese looking to the inside line. Longacre goes very high, maybe to help facilitate that pass, and it looks like John Midget's going to follow suit. So DeWeese, a man on fire, having to fight back against attrition, has worked his way up inside the top 5. He's 4 seconds back from Robert Cook and 5.4 back from Robert Norfleet, which would signify a podium. We're going to pull up the running order to the left side of your screen as we pan back to Colby Baber. 10.8 seconds ahead of his closest competition. The number 10 machine absolutely ripping out here today. .15 laps left to go as Colby Baber continues the charge up front. Will we see any more changes up in the lineup? So it looks like John Midget trying to keep Braxton DeWeese in his sights in that battle for 5th. You've also got Evan Longacre, and it almost looks like that's Howerton and the 51 machine who's a lap down. But we've seen late race caution throw a whole lot of wrenches and a whole lot of drivers' plans before. Will that be the case here tonight? As so far, once we got those 2 early cautions out of the way before the stage break, things have been going relatively well for the drivers as well as race control. Our hard charger so far is once again, though, Braxton DeWeese in that 5th place spot. Despite a roller coaster of a night, is once again up 13 spots from where he originally started. And to give John Midget his credit in that 29 machine, doing a fantastic job staying linked up to Braxton DeWeese's number 8. 12 laps left to go. I think if we're going to see any back and forth racing, it's going to be between these two in the battle for 5th. As everyone else out on track, very spread out this point over the run. Doing about 12 drivers on the lead lap. With 18 still out on track running compared to the 25 that entered today's main event. And here we go. John Midget has made the pass on Braxton DeWeese. So DeWeese will have to tuck in behind the 29. This is not what DeWeese had planned for, to try and work his way back up front, because again, the longer they battle, they are now 6 seconds behind Robert Cook. So DeWeese and Midget still going back side by side. This allowed Evan Longacre to rejoin the fray. 9 laps left to go if anybody's going to make any big moves here. DeWeese has worked his way back inside the top 5, up 13 spots. John Midget behind him up 6 positions. Evan Longacre in 7th is up 1 spot so far. Checking back in on Robert Norfleet, your 3rd place driver as it stands in the 56 machine. He's up 12 positions. Robert Cook behind him also up 12 positions. Norfleet has about a 9/10 advantage over the 64 of Cook. I can imagine with 8 laps left to go, he's going to fight tooth and nail to stay in podium contention here. The laps rapidly clicking off. Robert Cook, we pan to, gonna try his best to close that gap to Norfleet. He is just at a 9/10 disadvantage, so it's going to be tough to make anything happen. Meanwhile, DeWeese and Midget still separated by about 0.2 of a second in the battle for 5th. So still time for some late race cautions if drivers get a little bit too excited. And still some great racing going on. There's not a lot of laps left for these guys to make anything happen. Especially this late in the fuel run, as we're on board with John Midget trying to track down Braxton DeWeese. He's going to get a massive run down the start-finish line. I was going to say, we're about 40 laps in on a set of tires, so there's not a lot of good rubber there to try and make those moves happen and have the extra traction to make it stick. Now, Midget still closing the gap, keeping DeWeese in striking distance, less than 2/10 between the two. 3 laps left to go, and right now all eyes on the battle for fifth, as it is still so incredibly tight. 142 laps into this main event. Laps left to go. Braxton DeWeese just 0.15 of a second ahead of John Midget's 29 machine. Everyone else out on track has 0.7 or more between them. The other close battle we have on track is Robert Norfleet, Robert Cook. That's 0.6 between the two there, but not a lot of time left for anybody to make any moves. Now Colby Baber, your race leader, I think he's in a safe spot. He's back down on the pace. As we check in, the white flag is out for your race leader. And for the final time, Colby Baber's going to send it through 3 and 4. And the number 10 Toyota Camry. He's got a little bit of traffic ahead of him, but it's going to pick up the win here at Charlotte. Well done, Colby Baber picking up a massive win. And it's going to be Kenny Meadows and Robert Norfleet rounding out the top 3 here tonight. That's going to do it for my time up in the booth. Always a great time having the fans out here. Thank you all so much for coming out, supporting the broadcast. I'm going to pass it over to our podium team. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you at the next one.
Well, the first interview tonight is our third place finisher, Robert Norfleet. Robert, congratulations on your top 3 finish. Tell me a little bit about your night.
Well, started deep in the field and didn't take tires from that first couple of cautions for the first stage. So restarted deep when the race went green after the first stage, and slowly picked my way up through the field to third. So fun night. A lot of green flag racing. So had a pretty good setup. Don't think I had anything for the 10 card. I think the 96 was faster. So finished probably about where I should have. I think Robert Cook there was faster than me on the last few laps.
How was your car tonight on the short run and on the long run?
Short run, pretty slow, honestly, but on the long run, it felt pretty decent.
Gotcha. Do you think there was anything that you could have done different, or any scenario that could have played out that maybe could have helped you advance your finishing position anymore?
Yeah, I should have took tires that first caution there, or the second caution, and finished better in the stage, so I would have had better track position.
How important was track position tonight? How tough was passing on this track?
Passing is not that bad. Just where it went green for a long ways, and and you're starting the back, and it gets spread out. You got to spend a few laps fighting your way, with each car, and you just lose a lot of time overall.
I gotcha. Well, as we wrap up your interview, is there anybody that you want to shout out, or any groups that you want to thank tonight?
Yeah, I think my team, the Med Racing, thank Rapid Fire Pizza Series, and then of course you and the admins that put the league on, so we can have fun each week.
I appreciate the kind words, sir. That is our third place finisher, Robert Norfleet. Again, congratulations, Robert, on your top 3 finish tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on now to Kenny Meadows, our second place finisher. Congratulations, Kenny, on finishing runner-up tonight. Tell me a little bit about your race.
Man, well, we rolled out of here with very limited practice. We brought a setup that we thought would be good, and it ended up being pretty good. I thought I had a shot at Colby, but he drove away there. Tony Ear Jr. and the boys there at the shop, they really put together quite the race car tonight.
Do you think that there's anything that you could have done different or anything? What was your car? What do you think your car was missing that you would have needed to run up, and finish P1 tonight?
So on that first, after the first stage, I couldn't really tell because we had that caution. But in the second stint there, I definitely got way too loose. That thing was sideways quite a bit. So during the pit stop, my crew chief decided to tighten the thing up, and I was actually catching up to Colby there at the end. I think if I would have had that from the start, I might have had a chance to really get on his bumper and see what I could do there. But, I mean, he had a hell of a car tonight, so.
Tell me a little bit about how this track drives, from a driver's perspective as the run progresses.
I think it starts out pretty much a little tight, especially 3 and 4 there, and then it starts getting real loose on the drive off, and then eventually on entry, the whole thing's just wanting to go sideways, so you got to really, really watch your inputs there. I mean, I was fighting that thing all the way around the track, and Braxton even caught me before I pitted.
I gotcha. Well, as we wrap up your interview here tonight, is there anyone else or any groups you'd like to thank?
Well, got to thank the Ford Motor Company for the great Mustangs out here tonight for DA Med Racing. I got to thank Rapid Fire Pizza, Old School Ninjas, you putting this thing on, dealing with all of us knuckleheads out here, and all of the competitors and the broadcast team here for putting on this whole thing.
No, well, I appreciate the kind words also, so thank you, Kenny. And that is our second place finisher tonight, Kenny Meadows in the 96 car. So now moving on to the man that nobody could catch tonight, Colby Baber. Congratulations, Colby, on picking up another win this year. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your evening behind the wheel?
Yeah, it pretty much went as perfect as it could have gone from my perspective. I was a little worried coming into tonight that my short run speed wasn't going to be enough to hold off some of these guys, and the car proved me wrong. Just drove perfectly, right from the get-go. Didn't have to make very many adjustments there. And starting on the pole is definitely a big advantage. So it all just came together for the win tonight. And it's actually my first win of the season, so I've gotten pretty close and was never able to put it all together. But tonight everything just seemed to work out.
Oops, my bad. I remember you've been bridesmaid a couple of different times, so I apologize for that. Did you have any issues with the car at all, or was it pretty much like on a rail? I mean, that's kind of what it looked like from the brief moments that I saw of you.
Yeah, so with the setup tonight, it got pretty tight on me, 10 laps or so into the run until about 20 laps into the run. That period right there is pretty critical. It gets really tight, and if you try to overdrive it or drive through it, it just screws up the balance for the rest of the run. So luckily I was able to, on those restarts, get a pretty good enough gap to where I didn't have to try to defend very much and push the car harder than I needed to. So I was able to keep the balance right where it needed to be for the long run speed.
Were you having the issues that a lot of drivers where it seemed where the car was quite a bit tighter in 3 and 4, but then almost on the verge of being, free through 1 and 2?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I love coming here to Charlotte. It's just in 2 completely different corners, which is not the case at most intermediate tracks. So, 3 and 4, I'm really tight on entry there. You got to hit it just right, otherwise it messes up your whole corner. And then through 1 and 2, like everybody else said, you're just playing with the throttle, trying to keep it from spinning out. You're constantly on the edge, even coming in, lifting off into the corner. So yeah, I was dealing with those same issues. Just had the right right settings tonight to be able to keep it under control.
No, plus, I mean, it's kind of like a sneaky, bumpy track. You've got to balance your spring perches and, that front splitter wanting to hit. You've got to almost resist the urge to want to get on the brake too much getting into the corner so you don't nose back the thing. It's still a high-speed intermediate track with, quite a bit of bumps. So you want your splitter to be as low as possible, but not impacting the track, too.
Set, pretty optimally. So, yeah, like you said, if you bottom out, you're going straight up the track, and it's going to heat up the right front, and you're not going to have a good time.
Repeat that last part. For whatever reason, it didn't come in on my end. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying that, like you said, that bump into 3 and 4, especially if you hit it wrong, you don't get in there just right, it sends my car up the track. My splitter's set pretty optimally, so if I miss that or brake too hard, I just go right up the track in 3 and 4, the corner where you're getting extra tight. So, yeah, you just got to drive it consistently every lap to be able to run a good, clean race.
No, so as we wrap up your interview here, is there anybody or any groups you'd like to shout out tonight?
Yeah, as always, thanks to Rapid Fire Pizza, Old School Ninjas for sponsoring the series. Thanks to all the guys in MSRA Race Control. Evan, everybody puts on a good league every week. I really enjoy coming out here every week and racing with all these guys. Had a good turnout tonight, so thanks everybody for coming out. And finally, thanks to simracingzone.com for sponsoring the number 10 Toyota Supra tonight. It was a great car. Couldn't have done it without the setup and everything from those guys. So thanks.
No, and thank you for those kind words as well. And congratulations on your first win. I feel like it's a big deal to win. You get to try once a week, and it's not like you can try again, in an hour. You get one shot per week at, a track. So to put it all together and have it all work out, it's always, a good feeling. So congratulations on that, sir. Well, thank you to everybody for tuning in tonight. Got a shout out to Rapid Fire Pizza, Old School Ninjas for sponsoring the league. Thanks to our race control for coming out. Brandon Davis Williams does a great job with that. Thank you to Goon Squad for putting on our broadcasts. Thanks to David Santini for running the league with me. This is Evan Longacre signing off, and we will see you guys next week.